Shirley can't believe I'm stuck. She can't believe that I can't figure out what to say. Coming to you live from our top secret broadcasting bunker here at Area 52, located somewhere in the grounds of Holland. You guys didn't know I was in Holland. I'm like right next door to some of you people. You just didn't know. Can't you tell by my accent? Anyway, it's good to be with you today. We had some wonderful, wonderful visitors with us last week from Holland, and they have made it back home safely and have written in, and he is watching right now, and we say hello to them and hello to all the people in Nederland and Australia and possibly Germany, France, Great Britain, United States, and the northernmost state of America we called Canada. And we welcome you all today to our live broadcast. Ricky from Holland wrote in earlier, wanted us to pray for her grandson who fell and cracked his head. And I'm assuming now that he's okay now because she is back online with us. And so anyway, you pray for Ricky and her family. It's good to be with you today. And yes, I mean, I get stuck, and I'll be honest with you. I woke up this morning wanting to do this show. I'm going, all right, it's Tuesday. I get to be online, and I get to be a clown, and I get to talk about all kinds of stuff. And I came in here, and I got busy working on the script for the next Watchman broadcast, and it's already 1.5 miles long, and I'm not done with it yet. And I looked at the clock, and it was like 12:20 Central Time, and I thought, man, I don't want to quit doing this. When I get on a roll, I want to get it done. And so my mind has been in one particular focus all morning this morning. I wouldn't take any calls. I think I did talk to one person this morning on the phone. So if you tried to call me today and Gary said, well, I think he's busy, you know, he gets real busy. I was, and I'm going to try to finish that script probably this evening. And I don't know if I'll record tomorrow or not, but I'm going to try to get to it. It's a whopper. It's a biggie. It's a doozy. Okay? It'll put everything in perspective concerning the New World Order, concerning the Vatican, concerning Obama, concerning all of the money crisis that's going on. From a biblical perspective, it'll put everything in perspective, and hopefully people can understand then what's going on. As you know, I believe in conspiracies. I believe in one big, gigantic, humongous conspiracy, and under this conspiracy is all these little sub-conspiracies. And one of the things that I want to do is, number one, show that there is actually something going on. We can't ignore it. We have to pay attention to it. We have to be watching for it. We have to warn others. We have to tell people. We have to be watchmen on the wall, and we have to blow a trumpet over what we see going on. And then to be able to give them facts. I mean real, live, truthful facts, not made up stuff. I do have an article here, and I have my can of King James open here, and I am going to read something here in a little bit pertaining to some things I'm seeing on the internet today. Where, oh where? This is from Snopes.com, SNOPES.com. Snopes is it's a website that deals with internet rumors, and I can tell you over the years, Jill wants to know what a doozy is. A doozy is a whopper. Okay, it's a big something. That's what a doozy is. But anyway, over the years, I've been a prophecy student all my life. And ever since the 70s, since I can remember pastors and teachers talking about prophecy, I've heard a lot of rumors from preachers who were spreading rumors about such and such and such and such. One of the early rumors that I remember hearing, some of you, we're going to go way back in our time machine. One of the early rumors I remember hearing was that Procter & Gamble. You remember Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble, they're the ones, they make household items like detergent and soap. They're the ones who were sponsoring all of these daytime dramas that came on American television, and that's why we call them soap operas, because they were sponsored by Procter & Gamble. But there was a story came out in the 80s about Procter & Gamble and about their logo. Now, their logo to me is suspect. I look at that thing and I'm going, okay, I see 13 stars and I see a moon, and okay, I think I understand this. But there was a rumor that went around that said that the president of Procter & Gamble actually went online, not online, this is before the internet, went on the Phil Donahue show. You remember, that takes us way back. Went on the Phil Donahue talk show and actually admitted that he was a member of the Church of Satan, and that vast amounts of money from Procter & Gamble sales is going into the Church of Satan to spread Satanism all over the world, and let's boycott Procter & Gamble. Well, it wasn't true. No, it wasn't true. It didn't happen. Now, I don't know about the president of Procter & Gamble. I don't know if he is, I'll say this, if he's not a Bible Christian, he's a Satanist. But he never went on the Phil Donahue show. That was passed around, rumor mill back in the 80s. Then the internet shows up, and I remember late in the 90s getting an email that basically, and this was after Phil Donahue went off the air, so someone rewrote the rumor and put it out there that he was on some other talk show, current like Geraldo or something like that, and it's the same story, and it's not true. It never happened. And then the email was going around. Let's see, here's another one. That Madalyn Murray O'Hara, you remember her, Madalyn Murray O'Hara, the woman who, and now she did a lot of terrible things. She's an atheist, and she's the one that sued the United States government to try to get prayer removed from school, and it worked. But then there was a rumor going around in the 90s that Madalyn Murray O'Hara was spearheading an effort to drive the FCC to put off all religious programming off of the television and radio all over America. We've got to sign this petition now and send it in to the FCC and let them know that you stand against this thing. It never happened. Then it floated around again. It wasn't true. And then it came around again, and it still wasn't true. And then it started floating around that Madalyn Murray O'Hara was going to testify before Congress and have all of the Christian programming or religious programming removed off the airwaves. And Madalyn Murray O'Hara had been dead for I don't know how many years. And it wasn't true. That's just a glimpse of what goes on out there. Now, here's something that I've been, and I'll be honest with you, I've been seeing a lot of stuff in the last, let's say 3 years since I've been doing the Watchman broadcast. And I try to be skeptical. I had a lady call me one day. She said, I live over here in Illinois. And she said, I just think I'll come to your church. She said, I think you're just one of my kind. I like the way you say things, and I like this and I like that. And she said, I'm against the New World Order, and I'm against this, and then she mentioned a subject that, as far as I'm concerned, here we go. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to make anybody mad. But she brought up a subject, and she said, yeah, what do you think about that? And I said, I'll be honest with you. I said, I haven't seen the evidence. I have not seen credible evidence concerning this one particular topic. And she got mad. She got angry with me, and how can you do blah, 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 and got off the phone, and we haven't seen her. But I'm just telling you that I think if we're going to be Bible Christians, and I'm talking to us, I'm talking the people that are watching this program right now will see it on YouTube. I think we're all in this thing together. I think that we think alike. I think that we all are aware, and we've had the light turned on, that something's going on in this world. We can see it clearly in the pages of the Scripture. We know that there's going to be a change take place. We know a lot of evil, dastardly things are happening all over the globe. And so I think that we're of a common mind here. But I think that if we're going to call ourselves Bible Christians and say this is what's going on, I think we all need to have and set for ourselves a high standard before we send out or forward an email, before we send out a link to a YouTube video, before we do anything like that, before we call our neighbor or say, hey, man, if you send somebody this little document that we pulled off the end, have you read, man, you got to read this. This is what's going on. I think that you ought to be Bereans when it comes to things that are out on the internet. I think you ought to search them out. I think you ought to try to find out whether or not it's actually true. And then go to the Scripture and say, yeah, I can see it in the Scripture here. And that was my point to this woman. She called and, yeah, what do you know about blankety blank? And I said, I haven't seen it in Scripture yet. Well, that's not what she wanted to hear, so I haven't heard from her since. And I just think we ought to have and set for ourselves a high standard so that when you pass out an email, when you watch a YouTube video, which usually, normally, most YouTube videos are cut up in about 9 or 10 minute segments. You're watching a 10-minute piece of somebody's mouth moving on a YouTube video with graphics. I think you ought to search it out. When I put out a Watchman broadcast, or when I put out a Pastor Mike Online or a Bible study or anything like that, when you sit and watch me preach or teach, I think you ought to be a Berean. I don't have a problem with that. God doesn't have a problem with that. The Apostle Paul didn't have a problem with that. None of the early apostles had a problem with that. Go look for yourself. Go search it out and see whether or not this thing is actually true or not. Search the Scriptures. Search the Internet. Not everything of like a news organization like CNN or Reuters News, they're not going to lie 100% of the time. There are just some things that are just factual and some things that are not. Here's where I'm getting at. Getting emails from people. And whoever sent me this last one, I appreciate it, because all it was a link to this Snopes article. Now, I've also seen some emails from people that says Snopes is a New World Order puppet organization, and so is Wikipedia. I mean, I've seen those too, but let's just look at the facts. Okay, let's look at the facts. This is the here's the email. Okay, and you've probably seen this before. Obamacare law requires an RFID chip implanted in all of us. Are you ready to have your RFID chip implanted